It's time for Brewster Whitecaps baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network.
Welcome to Eldridge Park. I'm Maura Sheridan alongside Carter Woodeel. The Brewster Whitecaps and the Orleans Firebirds in the Eastern Division Championship Series Game 3. This is it, Carter. The Whitecaps are trying to do something they haven't done since June 14th. That's beat these Orleans Firebirds at home right here at Eldridge Park. But I would say the stakes are a little bit higher than the first game of the season, which, again, was the last time the Whitecaps beat Orleans here in Orleans.
Yeah, it's do or die, winner take all, winner go home. All of these superlatives that you can apply are going into this game tonight, and I'm sure that every single little aspect of this ball game could come back and mean an entire season. I mean, the season is on the line for Brewster and Orleans here, two terrific teams. And for Jamie Shevchik and his club, they're just going to have to stay loose and try and execute.
The Whitecaps have done this before. They beat YD after going down early in the series. They lost the first game, and they were able to come back and beat YD, and that was in the first round of the playoffs. Now it's the second round. This is a very tough Orleans squad, but, you know, we've seen them do it before. Yesterday, though, that was a big win for Brewster. With their backs against the wall, they were able to pull out an 8-3, a very convincing victory over Orleans at home. Very similar to kind of how the YD series went to, as in Game 2 at Stony Brook Field. Brewster pulled off a 6-1 win against YD. So Brewster, again, 8-3, and it was just a great win all around, as Brewster had 3 home runs from Chandler Taylor, Julian Infante, and Nick Dunn. And I think one of the biggest parts of that was Julian Infante and Chandler Taylor had really been struggling in the playoffs, and they got their bats going in quite a big way with 2 moonshots for those 2 guys.
That's absolutely right. Brewster now 3-0 in elimination games this season, and those home runs kind of came as a surprise. This Firebirds pitching staff is so deep. It's one of the big reasons why Orleans got to this point in the playoffs. They've only given up, before that ball game, 7 runs in the entire postseason. They gave up 8 in the game, and including those 3 homers that you mentioned, Maura. So for Brewster, they're just looking to continue that momentum, keep things going, and remind themselves, as you said, that they've done this before.
And since we're at Eldridge Park, it's going to be the Whitecaps batting first. So let's get you started on Brewster's lineup, and we'll let the Whitecaps introduce themselves.
Nick Dunn, infield, University of Maryland.
Mickey Gasper, catcher, Bryant University.
Hey, I'm Marty Costas, outfielder, University of Maryland.
Hunter Bishop, outfielder, Arizona State.
Kyle Datris, infield, University of North Carolina.
Chandler Taylor, University of Alabama, outfielder.
Darius Hill, outfielder, West Virginia University.
Julian Infante, infield, Vanderbilt.
AJ Graffinino, shortstop for the University of Washington.
And it's also going to be Connor McNamara getting the start on the mound for the Whitecaps. Well, this is the exact same lineup as we saw yesterday. And as I mentioned, it was a convincing 8-3 win. So what do you think about that decision for Coach Jamie Shevchik?
Well, it's the first time all year that Brewster's had the same lineup in back-to-back games. Jamie Shevchik is a notorious tinkerer with how he makes his lineup, often moving guys up and down by just a couple of slots based on matchups or even how they're looking in batting practice before the game. But I'm sure Jamie Shevchik kind of looked at the offensive explosion that he saw from his club yesterday and said, well, it ain't broke. Let's send the same 9 out there today for this crucial Game 3.
But someone we haven't seen a lot of is on the mound for the Whitecaps. As I mentioned, it's going to be Connor McNamara, and our own Aiden Doyle has more on the starter for Brewster today.
Thank you, Maura. Will Connor McNamara, the right-hander out of Marist, getting the start for the Whitecaps, like you two mentioned, in a do-or-die Game 3. I asked Coach Jamie Shevchik why McNamara out of everyone on the pitching staff. He said because of his starting.
Well, it seems like we're having a bit of technical difficulties. We'll try to get Aiden back later on in the broadcast, but as he was saying, this is a guy that he has started a lot at Marist. He had 7 starts, so Jamie Shevchik knows that he can go the distance, but for the Whitecaps, he's only pitched 5 1/3 innings in the Cape League, so this is going to be very different for Brewster, but we've seen this work for them. They had Schneider on the mound, they've had Sear on the mound, guys that are totally new to this team, do a really good job for Brewster. So he's new, but potentially this could pay off. We've seen it pay off for Jamie Shevchik and the Whitecaps in the past in the playoffs.
Jamie Shevchik has shown that he really trusts a lot of these newer players, especially on the pitching side, like you mentioned. I mean, when Ryan Sears has come in these playoffs, it's been in 2 really important spots, including closing out the big Game 3 victory against YD. And Ryan Sears, a guy who wasn't on the team a couple of weeks ago, so clearly Jamie Shevchik, you know, he's throwing these guys right into the fray. He's using matchups exclusively to kind of determine who he's going to go with in these big spots. And so far for him, it's really worked in keeping the opposing offenses at bay.
We'll take a quick break for the national anthem, and when we come back, we'll have the starting lineup for the home team, the Orleans Firebirds. Do not go anywhere. More playoff baseball on its way on the Whitecaps Radio Network.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan.
A little bit of a fake out here in Orleans. We are not doing the national anthem quite yet. We still have a couple more minutes before that will happen, so I will get you started on the Orleans lineup that they are putting out today. Again, Game 3. This is a big one. Backs against the wall for both teams. A series tied up at 1-1 and a chance to go to the championship and play Bourne. We already know that's who they're going to be playing, as Bourne swept Wareham yesterday. Completed that one in a 2-0 win. So here's the Orleans lineup, though, today. Leading off, as always, it's going to be Jimmy Herron, one of the most dangerous guys on the Cape. In the 2 spot, it's going to be Ethan Paul. We saw him homer yesterday for the Firebirds. In the 3 spot, it's going to be Nico Decolati, out in right field as well. In the 4 spot, it's going to be Steven Scott. He'll be a designated hitter for the Firebirds today. Batting 5th, it's going to be Jax Groshans. At 3rd base, batting 6th, Brennan Riley. 7th, Lars Newtball. In the 8th spot, Cesar Salazar. And rounding that up is going to be Jeff Hopeby. We'll take a quick break for the national anthem. Don't go anywhere.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan.
We are back at Eldridge Park and just moments away from this Game 3 in Orleans, and Taylor Sugg is taking some practice pitches on the mound for the Orleans Firebirds. He's a righty, and the Whitecaps have actually seen him more on the mound than they've seen their own starter. Sugg has pitched 7 innings against the Brewster Whitecaps, and just has one. July 3rd was the only time he held them scoreless, and has had some rough appearances against Brewster, but all in relief. In July 20th, he had 3 innings pitched, allowed 5 runs, and then on August 1st, 3 innings pitched, 2 runs allowed. So altogether, Brewster has mustered up 9 hits against Sugg in 7 innings play, but this is a guy that has had a lot of chances on the mound. 26 innings pitched, again, most in relief. This is going to be his 5th start today for the Firebirds, but this is a guy that is comfortable out there. He's had good appearances, just the Brewster Whitecaps seem to have his number. But as we've talked about, this Orleans Firebirds relief squad and really throughout their entire pitching staff is very solid. So he does go to UNC Chapel Hill, and maybe we've just seen some of his worst outings, and Sugg is going to bring it today.
That's right, yeah, and a lot of UNC Chapel Hill players on both teams on the Cape as well, including with the Brewster Whitecaps. So certainly some guys that Mike knows stuff ahead of time, especially Kyle Datris in the Whitecaps lineup today heading into things. Also Zach Gehagen, a guy who Jamie Shevchik has used off the bench a little frequently, especially in this postseason, is another Tar Heel for Brewster.
And Nick Dunn is now digging in for the Whitecaps, getting ready to start off this game. A huge one for the Whitecaps. Game 3 Eastern Division Championship Series. Here's the first pitch. That one misses outside. Counts 1-0. Nick Dunn going ahead against Taylor Sugg. Sugg steering in, and here comes a 1-0. This one hit high and looks like it will tail foul in the left field. So counts 1-1 on Nick Dunn. Dunn homered yesterday to give Brewster a 3-2 lead, a lead they would never waver on, as the 1-1 is again fouled by Dunn. This one just hit high on the left field side. So the count's 1-2 on the leadoff hitter for Brewster. Here comes the 1-2. That one misses way outside. Nice grab there by Salazar, who's behind the plate. Get you started on the rest of the defense for the Firebirds. It's going to be Riley, Heron, and Decalotti in the outfield, left to right. Here comes the 2-2. That one once again fouled on the left field side. And Nick Dunn stays alive. 2-2 in this count. And then the infield for the Orleans defense is going to be Groshans, Hopi, Paul, and Newbar. As I mentioned, Salazar behind the plate, Sugg on the mound. Here comes the 2-2 once again. That one misses just below the knees, and Nick Dunn working a full count in his first at-bat. Dunn, the leadoff hitter, a spot he really worked himself into as the season wore on. Here comes the payoff pitch. This one once again fouled on the left field side, just chopped towards the dugout for the Whitecaps, and another payoff pitch on its way. Dunn, as I mentioned, he's hitting in the leadoff spot. Mickey Gasper's on deck, and Marty Costas is in the 3 spot today. They're all due up as Dunn fouls this one straight behind him. Just got a piece of that one to Dunn, and really making Taylor Sugg work in this first at-bat. A good start for Brewster and a good at-bat for Nick Dunn to start this game off. Forced Sugg to throw a lot of pitches out there. The payoff pitch again, and this one hit right in between first and second. Nick Dunn finds the gap, and that will be a base hit to start out this game for Brewster.
Yeah, great job from Nick Dunn. You were talking a little bit about that lineup construction, Maura, and I really like how Jamie Shevchik has stacked the first 3 hitters in this order. Mickey Gasper is the team MVP for a reason, and putting him in second behind a guy like Nick Dunn, who's so consistent at getting on base, means he still gets RBI opportunities, but it gets him a few more at-bats. And in a crucial must-win game like this, you're going to need maybe one extra at-bat from Gasper. It could be all the difference.
Mickey Gasper, the first pitch to him. Fastball finds a strike zone, counts 0-1 on Gasper. Mickey Gasper has been stellar for the Whitecaps. We've seen him actually hit 2 stand-up triples in the playoffs alone. He has just come up huge for the Whitecaps, has 5 RBIs as he misses. As Sugg misses outside, counts 1-1 on Mickey Gasper. Gasper, as you mentioned, team MVP, also got the captain's award as the 1-1. This one hit to the first baseman, Newbar, who backhands it, and then the throw over to first is not in time as it goes over the head of Newbar, but they do get Nick Dunn out. They tried to do a double play, the Orleans Firebirds. They got Nick Dunn out, but were not able to get Mickey Gasper as the throw to first, just over the head of Lars Newbar. Got a piece of it with his glove, but unable to glove it completely, so Mickey Gasper does get on.
That was a good job to get just the lead runner there, and a nice job backing it up as well. So no harm, no foul for Orleans. They'll take that for sure.
So now it's Mickey Gasper up first, and Marty Costas up to bat. First pitch from Sugg misses outside, counts 1-0 on Costas. Costas, another guy who's doing very well in the playoffs. He has 5 RBIs, also has a homer, and he homered in Game 3 of the first round of the playoffs, as the next pitch from Sugg again misses outside. Counts 2-0 on Costas. Costas has really made him a name for himself as a clutch player for the Whitecaps. We've seen him hit a walk-off homer. We've seen him hit almost a walk-off homer, as that game was called due to darkness against Harwich. And Sugg misses again outside, counts 3-0 on Marty Costas. Costas batting .315 in the playoffs. Sugg. Here comes the pitch, and that one in for a strike as Costas was taking all the way. Counts again 3-1 on Marty Costas. Costas has an on-base percentage of .427 as he will find the first base gap, and Marty Costas with a base hit as Mickey Gasper moves to second. 2 hits right on that right field side in between first and second for the Brewster Whitecaps so far in this game. And now there's a runner in scoring position for Hunter Bishop.
So far it's been a winning combo for Brewster, being patient at the plate, waiting for the good pitch to hit, and then getting some hard contact. We've seen 3 different batters do it now.
There is 1 out. Runners on first and second. There is no score here in the top of the first inning, and it's Hunter Bishop up to bat. Here comes the pitch from Sugg. That one, a breaking ball that finds the outside corner for strike number 1. Counts 0-1 on Bishop. Bishop had one of his best games of the year here in Game 1. Really the only source of offense for the Brewster Whitecaps in that game. As Sugg looks over at Gasper, and here comes the 0-1. That one misses inside, and the count's 1-1 on Hunter Bishop. Bishop had a homer here over to left field, and then he also had himself a hit. So Hunter Bishop just had a great day here at Eldridge Park, and now he's hitting in the 4 spot for Brewster. Really moved himself up in the lineup with that game as a breaking ball misses just outside to Hunter Bishop. Counts now 2-1. Sugg staring in. Getting ready for the pitch, as trying to strike out his first batter, and he does. Hunter Bishop, or excuse me, sorry, that was the second strike, so the count is now 2-2 on Hunter Bishop. Big swing and miss there from Hunter Bishop. Sugg again steering in, and here comes the 2-2. That one misses below the knees, and the count is now 3-2 on Bishop. Just a lot of long at-bats for the Brewster Whitecaps. We saw Nick Dunn work a full count in his leadoff at-bat for Brewster. Dunn was the first out, and the only one so far in the top of the first inning. Here comes the payoff pitch. That one in for a strike just on the outside corner. Hunter Bishop thought he was headed to first. He kind of already took a jump there, but that one a called strike, and Hunter Bishop goes out via the strikeout. The first one for Sugg today, and that's 2 outs in the top of the first.
That's clearly frustrating for Hunter Bishop, but you've got to learn from it here in the early end of the at-bat to see how Will Bowers' strike zone is going to shake out over the course of this ball game. It's important in a must-win game like this to try and make adjustments at bat to at-bat.
Now it's Kyle Datris' turn against his teammate Taylor Sugg. They're teammates at UNC. Here comes the first pitch from Sugg. That one misses below the knees. Counts 1-0 on Kyle Datris. Datris taking a couple practice swings. A big spot here for Brewster, trying to jump out to an early lead with runners on first and second. It's Marty Costas at first, Mickey Gasper at second. Kyle Datris up to bat. Here comes the 1-0. That one misses outside. Counts 2-0 on Kyle Datris. Datris, another guy that has been having a great playoffs, as he has 5 RBIs, and he does have a homer again. That one was in Game 3 as well. That made the score 6-5 against YD. Brewster obviously won that game as Datris ropes one, but is caught by third baseman Jax Groshans. A nice grab there by Groshans to end the top of the first, and that means Brewster leaves 2 runners stranded in the top of the first inning. No runs come through off of 2 hits. We're through a half an inning of play, and the score is still 0-0. Do not go anywhere. More playoff baseball on its way on the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan.
Welcome back to Eldridge Park. It's going to be Heron, Paul, and Decolati, the very top of the order, due up in the bottom of the first inning for the Orleans Firebirds. The score is still 0-0 as Brewster was unable to bring Mickey Gasper and Marty Costas, who were left stranded at first and second, home. And Brewster was unable to jump out to an early lead, and now it's Jimmy Heron's turn, a very dangerous guy. We talk about him so much. But Connor McNamara will face a tough batter in his first start in the Cape League. A huge game for McNamara. He is officially the youngest on the team, just 18 years old is Connor McNamara, and this is going to be a tough game for him. He looks locked in on the mound and clearly has the trust of Jamie Shevchik. Here comes the first pitch, fouled off high and above the press box by Heron. That one might have hit a car over in the parking lot by Jimmy Heron. Didn't hear a shatter though, so hopefully everything's fine. But the count is 0-1 on Jimmy Heron, who's out in center field today for the Firebirds. McNamara misses outside, and the count moves to 1-1 on the leadoff hitter for Orleans. McNamara moving quickly. Here comes a 1-1. This one hit right over second base, finds a gap, and that's a leadoff hit for Orleans. So Jimmy Herron is on, and that's a dangerous guy to let on, which I'm sure Connor McNamara was told before this game, as Jimmy Herron has 13 stolen bases in the Cape League this year. And every time I talk to Coach Jamie Shevchik, he says he always warns his pitchers to be watching Herron. And I'm sure we'll see a couple of checks over at first as Ethan Paul now digs in for the Orleans Firebirds. First pitch from McNamara, hit high into left field. That one tails foul, so the count's 0-1 on Paul. Paul out of Vanderbilt is now fixing his gloves, just like his teammate at Vanderbilt, Julian Infante, tends to do in between pitches. McNamara swivels his head, looks over at first, and here comes the 0-1. This one gets behind Mickey Gasper, and Jimmy Herron will just jog over to second. We'll see how that one scored, but I think that may be a wild pitch there from McNamara, as that one was kind of out of the grasp of Mickey Gasper, but no matter how it scored, Jimmy Herron's now in scoring position for the Orleans Firebirds. McNamara with the pitch. This one over to Nick Dunn, who backhands it. The throw to first is a high, and Ethan Paul will be safe at first. So that one was a little high over to Julian Infante, had to jump up to get that one, was unable to make the tag in time to get Paul, and Herron now moves to third. So runners at the corners. We've seen a couple of off throws by the Brewster Whitecaps as of late. They've had a lot of throwing errors, and we'll see how that's scored, but just a high throw there from Nick Dunn over at second. Was a tough play. He had to backhand one. That one looked like it was going to get through the gap just like Herron's, but nevertheless, runners at the corners here in the bottom of the first inning with no score for the Orleans Firebirds. As Nico Decolati fouls out the first pitch that he sees. Counts 0-1 on Decolati. A long way from California, but has had a good Cape League run as he hits one to A.J. Graffinino at short. Graffinino steps on the bag at second, throws over to first, and that will complete the double play, but Jimmy Herron does come in to score. And now it is 1-0 Orleans. A double play there from the Brewster defense, a good double play, but Jimmy Herron does come in to score, and Orleans jumps out to an early lead, which we've seen them do in every game in this playoff series.
Yeah, no ribby there for Decolati, but it's still an important early lead for Orleans in the ball game, and it tells you what Jimmy Herron can do, even though wasn't really tested too much.
McNamara misses outside to Steven Scott. Counts 1-0 on Scott, the designated hitter today for the Firebirds. And the 1-0 misses inside this time. The count's 2-0 on Scott. No runners on as Herron scored and Decolati hit into a double play. Here comes the 2-0. Misses outside, and the count's 3-0 on Scott. Scott, home run derby champion in the Cape League this year, edged out Chandler Taylor, a Brewster Whitecap, for that. As a 3-0 in for a called strike on the outside corner. Counts 3-1 on Scott. Another Vanderbilt Commodore, 1 of 5 on the Cape this summer. Scott calling for time. Here comes a 3-1. That one, a fastball, is a called strike, and the count's 3-2 on Scott. A full count here from Connor McNamara. And here comes the payoff pitch. This one fouled above the press box by Scott as the sun goes down here at Eldridge Park. Again, just in the bottom of the first inning. And the Orleans Firebirds are up 1-0 in this decisive Game 3 here at Orleans. The winner of this moves on to the championship to play Bourne. Scott hits one hard into center field. Moving back is Hunter Bishop, But Bishop gets under it and completes the inning. So the Orleans Firebirds do manage to score just 1 run off of 2 hits. They don't leave any runners on. Score is 1-0. Orleans on top of Brewster after 1 inning of play. Do not go anywhere. More playoff baseball on its way. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps on the Whitecaps Radio Network.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan.
6, 7, 8 due up for the Brewster Whitecaps. Chandler Taylor now digging in with Taylor Sugg still on the mound for the Orleans Firebirds. And here comes the pitch from Sugg. This one misses outside. Counts 1-0 on Chandler Taylor. Taylor finally got it going yesterday when he homered at Stony Brook Field as the 1-0 again misses outside. The count's 2-0 on Taylor. Before that, Taylor had been struggling in the playoffs, had worked a couple of walks but hadn't got a hit. But now he has a homer to his name in the playoffs as he hits one hard over to second base. Paul with the throw to first, and that will retire Chandler Taylor. Chandler Taylor goes out via the 4-3 ground out, and now it's Darius Hill, the designated hitter's turn.
That was another hard ground ball to the right side. I mean, how many of those have we seen from Brewster so far in this ball game? It shows they're getting on top of these pitches early from Taylor Sugg.
Darius Hill taking a couple practice swings for Brewster in the batters and now entering the batter's box. Hill in the designated hitter spot today as the first pitch from Sugg finds the outside corner, counts 0-1 on Darius Hill. Sugg staring in, and here comes the 0-1. That one misses outside, and the count's 1-1 on Darius Hill. Hill has been in the designated hitter spot a couple of times in the playoffs as Michael Curry did go home for the Brewster Whitecaps as the 1-1. Misses just outside, and the count's 2-1 on Darius Hill. So Hill's kind of taken over that role for designated hitter and done a good job, batting .300 in the playoffs. As the pitch from Sugg misses outside, counts 3-1 on Darius Hill. Hill was a guy that typically used in a reserve role for the Whitecaps, but getting his chance here in the playoffs and really coming up big for Brewster as the pitch from Sugg misses just outside, and Darius Hill works a walk. It looked like he wasn't quite sure if that was a walk. He kind of looked over at Bowers at the plate, but Darius Hill gets on for the Brewster Whitecaps, and Julian Fonte now up to bat.
Yeah, Hill kind of portraying that aura of confidence there, but making sure that Will Bowers stood idly there behind the plate before he went over. Nicely done from the Brewster DH.
And now it's Julian Infante's turn. Sugg staring in, and here comes the first pitch to Infante. That one a fastball right up the middle. The count's 0-1 on Infante. Infante came up big for Brewster yesterday, another guy that had been hitless in the playoffs, but had a 2-run homer at Stony Brook Field that tied the game up at 2-2. Then, as I mentioned, Nick Dunn homered to follow that up, and Brewster took a lead. They would never waver as Infante with a hard hit ball out to left field. Moving back is Riley, and that one is caught. A nice catch there by Riley. That one looked like it was almost out there. Would have been out maybe at some other ballparks in the Cape, but Julian Infante jogs back to the dugout, and Darius Hill remains on first.
That's the deepest part of the ballpark. 434 to center here at Eldridge Park. That wasn't out to straightaway center, but it was pretty darn close off the bat of Infante, so just a loud out number 2.
And now it's AJ Graffinino's turn with 2 outs and Darius Hill on first. Here comes the first pitch. Graffinino, a hard hit ball. Moving in is Riley, and he will make the catch out in left field. So Brewster does leave a runner stranded, but they don't get any hits and no runs come across in the top of the second inning. We're moving into the bottom of the second. The score is Orleans 1, Brewster nothing. Do not go anywhere. More playoff baseball on its way. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan.
Welcome back to Orleans, Massachusetts. I believe I owe you the Brewster defense as Jax Groshans digs in. For the Firebirds, it's going to be Julian Infante at first, Nick Dunn at second, AJ Graffinino at third, and Kyle Datris at third as Graffinino fields the first a hit by Groshans over at shortstop and throws it over to first, and that will retire very quickly the first batter in this bottom of the second inning. So a 6-3 ground out starts the inning for the Firebirds, and now it's Brandon Riley's turn, who completed the last out of the top of the second. Here comes the first pitch from McNamara, and that hits him right in the rib cage. And Riley will jog over to first, so that's the first base runner. That one just not clipped, got him really hard right in the rib cage, but Riley seems perfectly fine. He shaking it off there at first and just kind of stretching things out, and he will be at first and the first base runner for the Firebirds.
That was tough, made the crowd gasp here at Eldridge Park. Great to see that Riley's all right, able to shake it off.
And then for the rest of the Brewster defense in the outfield, it's Costas, Bishop, and Chandler. That's left, center, and right. Mickey Gasper behind the plate and Connor McNamara on the mound. As the pitch from McNamara misses inside, Mickey Gasper had to move on that one, not the place he was expecting that ball. Again, there's a runner on first as Brandon Riley just got hit by a pitch. Counts 1-0 on Lars Newtbar. Here comes the 1-0. This one hit high over Route 28 on the left field side. That will be a foul ball, so the count moves to 1-1. Riley and Newtbar had arguably the two best games, or the best games for the Firebirds yesterday, as Riley had 2 hits and Newtbar had 2 hits, walked once, stole a base, and came home once as the pitch from McNamara misses inside. The count's 2-1 now on Lars Newtbar. Newtbar out of USC, one of the Trojans. Here comes a 2-1. This one hit hard to AJ Graffinino at short. He steps on second, throws to first, and that completes a double play and the inning. Brewster completes their second double play of this game, and they get out of this inning unscathed. No runners left on for the Orleans Firebirds on no hits. No runs come across, but they do lead 1-0 after 2 innings of play. More playoff baseball on its way on the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network. The top of the order due up for the Brewster Whitecaps. Dunn, Gasper, and Costas all set to bat in this top of the third inning. The score is Orleans 1, Brewster nothing, as Dunn digs in to face off against Sugg for the second time today. As the first pitch from Sugg, foul tipped by Nick Dunn, and the count is 0-1 on Dunn. In his first at-bat in the first inning, Nick Dunn hit a single on the first base side as he'll once again foul tip this one into the backstop this time. It counts 0-2 on Nick Dunn, but Dunn did get out as Orleans almost worked a double play on a Mickey Gasper ground ball, but weren't able to complete it, but Dunn was called out on that as Dunn hits one high into left field, and that one will tail foul. So Nick Dunn stays alive. The count's 0-2. Sugg with 0-2. That one misses outside. Counts 1-2 on the Maryland Terrapin, who's over at second today for the Whitecaps. The 1-2 on its way. This one again fouled into the netting behind him by Dunn, so Dunn doing a good job of staying alive in this at-bat. Last time he faced Sugg, we saw him work into a full count. And now the 1-2, but fouled off quite a few balls in this at-bat. And here comes the 1-2. This one fouled off again on the left field side. Goes above Route 28 into the trees. And the count remains 1-2, no runners on for the Brewster Whitecaps, as Dunn is the leadoff hitter in this bottom of the third, or top of the third. Here comes the 1-2 yet again. And yet again fouled off by Nick Dunn on the left field side. That was the 7th pitch of this at-bat, and again, the count's only 1-2. Mickey Gasper, as I mentioned, on deck. Marty Costas in the 3 spot as Sugg misses up high, and count now evens at 2 to Dunn. Sugg with the 2-2. This one fouled on the right field side. Little change there from Nick Dunn, but again, the count is still 2-2. Nick Dunn really putting on a good at-bat for the second time today. He has been huge for this Brewster Whitecaps team. As the 2-2 comes yet again and fouled by Nick Dunn. This time right into the mask of Salazar, who's behind the plate, but Salazar shakes it off. And the count is 2 balls, 2 strikes. Dunn.
Always funny when you see a catcher just immediately reach over for the ball as soon as a play like that happens. Doesn't want the extra time, wants to get right back to the ball game.
Counts 2-2. Dunn makes contact high into center field. A fly ball that Jimmy Herron is getting under, makes the catch, and Nick Dunn is retired after a battle with Sugg. And Sugg wins that one, and that is a first out of the top of the third inning.
That's a 3rd straight fly ball off the bat of a Brewster Whitecap, and it's tough because this is a good defensive outfield for Orleans, and out to center field, it's a very big ballpark. Now, there's a short porch to left field, so if you pull the ball, if you're a righty, that's good news, but otherwise, it's a good day to be an outfielder.
First pitch from Sugg to Gasper is a called strike, counts 0-1 on Mickey Gasper. As I mentioned, Gasper got on to first in a fielder's choice in the first inning. Here comes 0-1. This one, a line drive hit to left field. That will be a base hit for Mickey Gasper. Mickey Gasper thought about going for 2 on that one on the left field side. But a nice piece of hitting there by Mickey Gasper yet again, and that's another runner on for the Brewster Whitecaps.
Great job going the opposite way there from Gasper to drive that one. Always looking for extra bases. He's been the guy to get extra base hits for Brewster in these playoffs, but we'll have to settle for the single.
Gasper does have 7 doubles on the year for the Whitecaps, tied with Nick Dunn for the most on the team. Here comes the pitch to Marty Costas. That one misses outside. Counts 1-0 on Costas. Costas himself had a single in the first inning, one of 2 Brewster mustered up in that one, as he hit one to the right side, a line drive that got through the gap as Costas fouls off the next pitch he sees over the press box. Costas taking a couple practice swings. Mickey Gasper at first. Sugg taking his time on the mound, and here comes the pitch. This one hit hard to the second baseman, Paul. Paul flips it over, steps on the bag, and that is going to be a double play. A nice double play there from the Orleans Firebirds as they respond to a hit from Mickey Gasper by getting Marty Costas to hit into a double play. The third one we've seen today from both teams. The score is still Orleans up 1-0 on Brewster after 2.5 innings of play. Stick with us. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network.
Do you know what that sound is? That's your new digital marketing department. And that'll be your new web designer. And that's Haibu, where these experts are joined by many more, from web designers to search marketing specialists who work hard to get your business noticed online and on mobile. Best of all, Haibu can do it all for you, or give you the tools to do it yourself. To find out more, go to haibu.com. That's HIBU.com, or call 855-464-HIBU. Oh, that'll be your next new customer. Haibu, made for business.
Welcome back to Eldridge Park. It's going to be Cesar Salazar, Jeff Hopi, and Jimmy Herron all due up in the bottom of the third inning for the Orleans Firebirds. They lead 1-0 on the Brewster Whitecaps. Connor McNamara still on the mound for Brewster. Game 3 Eastern Division Championship Series. This is it for these two teams. As the first pitch from McNamara misses up and away, counts 1-0 on Salazar. Salazar, one of the Arizona Wildcats. Brewster already knocked out 2 of his teammates, and Alfonso Rivas and Nick Quintana, who both played for YD, as McNamara misses again. Outside, counts 2-0 on Salazar. Salazar 4 for 11 in the playoffs, batting .363. It's been great for the Firebirds when he gets in games, as McNamara missed outside again, so the count's 3-0. This one a called strike, as Salazar was taking on that one from McNamara. Counts 3-1. Here comes the 3-1, fouled off by Salazar, just chopped on the third base side. And McNamara gets back into the count. It's now a full count on Salazar. We haven't seen McNamara walk anybody today. Gotten close, but worked his way back into counts. Jimmy Herron, the only guy that scored in this game, as Salazar gets a piece of this one high into center field, and Hunter Bishop will get under it. That was a hard hit baseball from Salazar. Hunter Bishop had to move over to Marty Costas in left field, but was able to make the catch and retire the first batter of this bottom of the third inning.
That was a great play by Hunter Bishop. Another good read. We've seen a lot of that in this playoff series from him, getting good jumps on baseballs and making catches that look easy but really aren't.
And now it's Jeff Hopi up to bat for the Firebirds with 1 out and nobody on, as he'll foul the first pitch he sees from McNamara straight behind him. Brewster bat boy getting that one. And the count's 0-1 on Hopi. Hopi had one of the best at-bats we've seen in the playoffs so far. The most interesting, as the 0-1 is fouled high and above us on the left field side. The count's 0-2 on Hopi. Yesterday, Hopi against Bradley Spooner, the Whitecap starter, had 9 foul balls as McNamara misses down low. The count's 1-2 on Hopi. 9 foul balls in 1 at-bat for Hopi. Also, 3 balls were thrown by Spooner, so 12 pitches overall in that at-bat, and then Hopi ended up getting a ribby single off of that. So Hopi sure won that battle as McNamara misses inside. Count evens at 2-2. So Hopi went behind in this count 0-2, worked his way back. Here comes the 2-2. That one misses outside, and the count yet again runs full from Connor McNamara. Brewster has worked 2 double plays, which has kind of saved McNamara as the payoff pitch is hit softly on the third base line. Kyle Datras charging in and is unable to throw it over to first in time as Kyle Datras had to run in to get that one. It wasn't a bunt, but it kind of played like one as it was a softly hit ball, almost like a check swing from Hopi, and Kyle Datras just wasn't able to beat out the really.
And it was a check swing, and Datras is so eager to make that sort of play. We've seen him make a lot of plays where he charges with the bare hand, but that time knew he didn't have enough time, just took a bite out of it.
So Hopi is at first. And the first pitch to Jimmy Herron is a called strike. Counts 0-1 on Herron. As I mentioned, in Hopi's at-bat, Herron's the only one that's come home today for either teams. The score's 1-0 as McNamara checks up on Hopi. A lot of speed. He is the shortstop for the Orleans team. Count still 0-1 on Herron. Here comes the 0-1. This one hit to Kyle Datras again with the throw over to Nick Dunn at second. Completes the out and the double play. They get Jimmy Herron to hit into a double play. That's the 3rd double play the Brewster defense has worked today. That one, a 5-4-3 double play for Brewster. The Brewster defense is really stepping up today. The score is still Orleans 1, Brewster 0. We've played 3 innings here at Eldridge Park. Do not go anywhere. You're listening to Playoff Baseball on the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take just a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about new programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, you can visit curry.edu. We welcome you back to Eldridge Park in Orleans. It's a gorgeous night for baseball, and this place is packed to the gills for Game 3 of the Eastern Division Championship Series between the Brewster Whitecaps and the Orleans Firebirds. We are entering the 4th inning, and Brewster trails 1-0. The 1 run coming in on a double play ground ball from Nico Decolati, so we have yet to see an RBI get registered to the score sheet so far in this ball game. Taylor Sugg remains on the mound for the Firebirds. He'll face Bishop, Datras, and Taylor to begin the 4th inning of play. And here's the pitch to the lefty Hunter Bishop. It misses just a bit low, below the knees to Bishop to make the count 1 ball and no strikes on Bishop, who struck out looking his first time up and was not a fan of the call from Will Bowers behind the plate. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. It's in there for a called strike at the knees to make the count 1-1. Well-placed fastball there from Taylor Sugg, the UNC Tar Heel. This is his 4th appearance this year against the Brewster Whitecaps for Sugg. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. It misses low in the dirt to make the count 2-1. Suggs thrown 7 innings against Brewster and given up 7 runs, 9 hits, 4 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Not the best line in the world, but so far tonight has been pretty solid. Here comes the pitch. It's hit hard on the ground through the middle. Moving to his left is the shortstop, Hopi. He scoops it and throws to first base in time for the out. A nice play by Jeff Hopi, showing off some quick hands, fielding that one up against his chest, and then throwing out the speedy Hunter Bishop. So that's the first out of the top of the 4th. And with Bishop gone on the 6-3, it'll bring up Kyle Datris, as once again we see the two Tar Heels get matched up against each other. Datris so far in this ball game for the Whitecaps is 0 for 1. He was robbed of a hit by a terrific leaping catch from the third baseman Groshans his first time up. Here's the first pitch to the righty. It's hit high in the air, foul ground behind the plate. That'll head into the fans out there in their lawn chairs and blankets. This place, Eldridge Park, famous for that hill on the right side of the field, and it was packed up with lawn chairs and blankets 2 or 3 hours before the game today. Not a seat to be had. Here comes the pitch. The 0-1 just got a piece, fouled it back. The count is 0-2. We're in the top of the 4th inning. Orleans has a 1-0 lead here in the deciding Game 3 of the EDCS here at Eldridge Park. Whoever wins this game not only will punch their ticket to the League Championship Series against Bourne, but they will have home field advantage regardless of whether it's Brewster or the Firebirds. Here comes the pitch from the righty, Sugg. It misses down and away, so the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes on Kyle Datris. Orleans, of course, has home field advantage for the whole playoffs. Brewster and the Braves are both at 500, but since the East won the All-Star game, the Whitecaps get the nod for home field advantage. 1-2 pitch, misses outside, so brings the count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes on Kyle Datris. Whitecaps have done a terrific job so far tonight at making Taylor Sugg work. They've been very patient and fouled off a lot of tough pitches. 2-2 is hit high in the air to left field. Moving back is the left fielder, Riley. He's turning, he's looking, and that one is out of here. A solo home run for Kyle Datris. Another big homer for him in this postseason. And the Whitecaps have tied the game at 1.
Man, Kyle Datris has just come up clutch in this playoff time and time again for the Brewster Whitecaps. I just remember in YD when they were down 5-5, Kyle Datris with a solo shot put them up. And now in a game where Brewster had struggled to muster up offense since the first inning, Kyle Datris gets them back in this game. Now it's just like 0-0 again, and Kyle Datris doing his job. That's going to be his 6th RBI of this playoffs.
Second home run of the Cape League postseason for Datris. Here is Chandler Taylor. The pitch to the lefty is hit hard on the ground to second. A tough hop, but fielded nicely by Paul. He throws to first for the out. A terrific play from Ethan Paul at second. That one took a hop right before it reached the infield dirt. Had to catch it almost up above the letters, but a terrific job to make that play. So that's out number 2. We are tied at 1 here between Brewster and Orleans in this deciding Game 3. This has been a series that's kind of been back and forth in its nature. It was all Orleans in Game 1, all Brewster in Game 2. Here's the pitch to Darius Hill. It misses way outside to the lefty batter to start off his at-bat for the West Virginia Mountaineer. Things are much more tense in Game 3 here in front of this packed house at Eldridge Park. Pitch to Hill. Misses outside. So the count 2 balls and no strikes on Darius Hill, who drew a walk his first time up in the 2nd inning. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. Broken back ground ball towards the shortstop, Hopi, who charges, fields it with the glove, and throws to first base for out number 3. So 3 ground balls for the 3 Brewster outs, but 1 big blow. The solo home run off the bat of Kyle Datris has tied this ball game at 1. 1 run, 1 hit, no one left for the Whitecaps in the top of the 4th. At the end of 3.5 innings of play, it's 1-1 here at Eldridge Park. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan. What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. To learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive, you can visit capecodhealth.org/blood center. The first pitch is fouled away toward the left side by leadoff hitter Ethan Paul, who's leading things off for the Orleans Firebirds as we start the bottom of the fourth inning of this deciding Game 3 in the East Division Championship Series. We are even at 1. If you're just joining us, it was a long home run from Kyle Datris that tied the score. The pitch to the lefty, Paul skips low in the dirt, so the count is even 1-1. As McNamara remains on the mound for Brewster, starting off his fourth inning of work. So far, it's been a great day for the Whitecaps defense. They've turned 3 double plays. Here's the pitch to the lefty, Paul. It's hit high in the air, a pop fly toward the left side of the infield. The shortstop, Graffinino, will give way to the third baseman, Datris, who moves to his left and makes the catch for out number 1. That one stayed up there a while. Nice job directing traffic from Datris, and Mickey Gasper, the catcher, was shouting out some directions behind the plate as well. Good cohesiveness, and that is out number 1 at the bottom of inning number 4. So now it's Nico Decolati's turn. The 1 run for Orleans in this game scored on a double play, and it was off the bat of Decolati, who digs in from the right side. 1-1 the score here at Eldridge Park. The pitch to the right-handed hitter is in there for a called strike. That was at the knees on the outer edge, on an off-speed offering to begin the at-bat from Connor McNamara. The righty out of Maris looking pretty darn composed out there. Here's the pitch to the righty. It's swung on and missed. Another off-speed pitch. You could tell Decolati's timing wasn't exactly great on that pitch, just kind of hesitated a bit and waved at it. Afterward, he looked back to the umpire, Bowers, to see if it was a strike, got the answer that it was below the knees. So here comes the 0-2 pitch. Checks his swing. The pitch was low, and he held up. No appeal. So it's 1 ball and 2 strikes on Decolati. McNamara working quickly. Here comes the 1-2 offering. It's a ground ball off of Decolati's hand, I believe. That was kind of strange. It hit right in front of home plate. Decolati immediately started heading toward first, and it wound up knocking off of his hand or arm. So that's a foul ball, and the count will remain 1 ball and 2 strikes here on Decolati. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Off-speed pitch that just misses low and inside. A couple of gasps from the area over by the Brewster dugout on the third base side here at Eldridge Park. There are a few Whitecap fans here, a lot of folks in general here at this ballpark. The pitch to Decolati skips low and heads all the way over the screen behind the plate. That one took a ricochet off of one of Gasper's shin guards and got all the way out of the premises. So another souvenir for the fans out there. So here comes the pitch. It misses outside for ball 4, and Decolati will take his base. So a well-earned walk there from Decolati after falling behind in the count 0-2. Works the first walk that has been surrendered by Connor McNamara in this game, though he has hit a batter. And now it's a runner on first and 1 out for Scott. Scott flew out to center field his first time to end the first inning, so he is 0 for 1 on the day. We are in the bottom of inning number 4. Tied 1-1 between Orleans and Brewster here in Game 3. McNamara holds the set. Here comes the first pitch to the lefty, Scott. It misses up high. So the count is 1 ball and no strikes. Scott, the outfielder from Vanderbilt, originally from Cary, North Carolina, which is where the collegiate national team has its home base. Here's the pitch. It's hit high in the air to center field and deep. Moving back is Hunter Bishop. Plenty of room out there. He's still going back toward the wall, and he makes the catch a couple of steps from the wall. Boy, this is a big old ballpark out there to center field, and Stephen Scott just used every inch of it with that fly ball. Hunter Bishop goes all the way back to grab it, and a long out number 2 here in the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, that was just about as close as it gets there for almost a home run to the deepest part of the field there for Stephen Scott, a guy that can go deep, and the Whitecaps just avoided the Orleans Firebirds going up 3-1 by just a couple of feet, I would say.
So here is Jax Groshans, the righty utility player out of Kansas. Runner on first base, 2 men out now. Here comes the pitch. It misses up high, so on a fastball there from McNamara, so the count is 1-0. Groshans wowed the crowd before the game tonight, sang the national anthem for the fans here at Eldridge Park, and was quite good if you ask me. They check over at first, diving back in time as the runner Decolati. Decolati only had 3 stolen bases in the regular season, but already has 3 in these playoffs, being much more aggressive on the base paths, and it's paid off. Has not been caught in the postseason. The pitch is hit hard on the ground. Datris puts his glove on it, but it goes into left field for a base hit. That was right into the shortstop hole. Datris was moving to his left, tried to reach the glove hand out. It knocked off the webbing and went into left field. So we'll see how that is marked down in the scorebook. It was a tough play for Datris, but either way, it's first and second and 2 men out for the Firebirds. Brandon Riley will now dig in for Orleans. Riley, a left-handed hitter, was hit with a pitch right in his rib cage his first time up on an off-speed pitch from McNamara. The pitch misses low, so 1 ball and no strikes now on Riley.
Last call. Last call on this side, 50-50.
First and second here. We are in the bottom of inning number 4 in a game that's tied at 1. McNamara checks the runner at second and deals. It misses low. It looks like that play has been scored a hit that allowed the runner Groshans to reach, which I think is a fair scoring. The next pitch is hit on the ground to shortstop, scooped up by the second baseman Dunn, who throws to second to retire his side. So Orleans gets a pair of runners on, but nothing comes of it. No runs, 1 hit, 2 left for the Firebirds in the bottom of inning number 4. At the end of 4 innings of play, we're tied at 1. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. The Sacred Cod Tavern at Chatham Bars Inn Resort and Spa is a quintessential New England dining experience for lunch or dinner, a proud member of leading hotels of the world. We welcome you back to Eldridge Park in Orleans, where the score is knotted at 1 as we start the 5th inning of play. Infante will lead things off for Brewster. He's followed by Graffinino and then the top of the order and Dunn. And the first pitch to the righty is hit high in the air, a mile high, but playable in shallow center field. Running in is the center fielder Heron, and he's waved off by the second baseman Paul, who gloves it for the first out of the 5th inning. Heron looked like he was going to want to run in and grab that, but probably a smart decision by Paul to come in and grab it himself. In any case, they continue to chat as they separate, but that is out number 1. Kind of out there in no man's land, was really hit high in the air by Infante. So now it's A.J. Graffinino's turn for the Whitecaps. Graffinino flew out to left field his first time up in inning number 2. The pitch to the Brewster shortstop misses outside on a fastball offering from Taylor Sugg. Starting off his 5th inning of work. For him, just the one mistake, really, the home run off the bat of Kyle Datris. That's Brewster's only run of the game. Here's the pitch to Graffinino. That is in there for a called strike. So 0-2 on A.J. Graffinino. Sugg staring in, gets the sign that he likes from Cesar Salazar. Here comes the pitch to Graffinino. Just misses low. Good attempt to frame that. So it's 2-1 now on Graffinino. We're tied at 1, top of inning number 5 in this deciding Game 3 between Orleans and Brewster. The pitch to Graffinino is hit hard on the ground, right side. It's past the second baseman, Paul, and into right field for a base hit. Another hard hit grounder to the right side. We've seen a lot of those off the bat of Brewster Whitecaps in this ball game, and Graffinino gets his first hit of the game.
Yeah, that's the third one we've seen to that side. We saw Nick Dunn and Marty Costas do that in the first inning, and then AJ just did it here, and this is big with Dunn up and Gasper to follow. This is why Dunn and Gasper hit so high in the order, because Jamie Shevchik wants them in this exact position right now.
Man, A.J. Graffinino has done a great job setting them up at the bottom of the order later on in games. But this is, as you said, Maura, you're absolutely right, but this is the spot. So here is Dunn. The pitch to him is hit high in the air but foul, tailing over Route 28 on the left side. So the count, no balls and 1 strike on Nick Dunn. So far today for Dunn, had that hard hit single you were talking about, and then a high fly ball to center field. Both of those came in lengthy at-bats. The pitch misses just off the plate outside to make the count 1-1. 8 pitches in the first at-bat and 11 in the second for Nick Dunn. So far today, doing a terrific job of making Sugg work. Here comes the pitch. It's hit high in the air, foul territory. It will again tail out of play. So a nice job by Nick Dunn of spoiling the pitch. Runner on first base is A.J. Graffinino with the count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Nick Dunn. And 1 man out here in the top of the 5th of a game that is tied at 1, a series that is also tied at 1. Here comes the pitch. Just misses low. So Nick Dunn manages to stay alive. Brings the count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes, and Dunn as steady as ever. Not one of those guys that where you can kind of tell what he thinks about pitches, kind of stays in his own zone at the plate, lets the ball game come to him. Here comes the pitch. It's a high chopper to the right side. The second baseman, Paul, scoops it, flips to short for 1 onto first base, and it's in time for the double play. A beautifully turned double play by the Firebirds. Nice job by the shortstop, Hopi, to run in and throw it in a terrific stretch from Newtbar, the first baseman, to finish it off. If you like double plays, this is the ball game for you. That's number 5 that we've seen tonight, and it finishes things in the top of the 5th. For the Brewster Whitecaps in the 5th inning, no runs to hit and nobody left. At the end of 4.5, we're halfway through a regulation game already here in Game 3, and we are tied at 1. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan. We're back at Eldridge Park starting the bottom of the 5th inning. Connor McNamara is back on the mound for the Brewster Whitecaps. There is some action in the Orleans pen as Jake Wong is getting loose out there. Bottom third of the Firebirds order due up, starting with Newpar, who hits a chopper to first base on the first pitch. Infante fields it and will win the race to the bag. And a 3 unassisted on the first pitch will start things off here in the bottom of inning number 5. Infante deciding very early, signaling to McNamara even before he fielded the baseball that he was going to take it himself to the bag. No need for the pitcher to cover. So now here comes Cesar Salazar, the catcher for Kelly Nicholson's team. In this ball game tonight, Salazar has a fly out to center to his name. He's 0 for 1. We are tied at 1 here in the bottom of the 5th. Here comes the pitch to the lefty Salazar. It's in there for a called strike. So the count is no balls and 1 strike on Cesar Salazar. A double play ground ball got the Orleans run in the first inning. A Kyle Datras homer tied the game in the 4th. Pitch to Salazar is off speed and it bounces right in front of home plate, maybe a few inches in front of home plate to make the count 1 ball and 1 strike on Cesar Salazar, who's still looking for his first ribby of the playoffs. This is the 5th game out of 6 that he has seen action in. The pitch is a ground ball foul, first base side. Way out in front of that one was Salazar. Kind of took a second to collect himself. Now nods his head and gets ready to dig back in for the 1-2 offering from Connor McNamara. Salazar is ready to go again. McNamara stares in, and here comes the 1-2 pitch. Cut on and miss for strike 3. Salazar chased an off-speed pitch that was up above the zone, and he goes down swinging for out number 2, and the first strikeout for Connor McNamara tonight.
Yeah, Connor McNamara, as you mentioned, that's the first strikeout for him. He only has 1 walk on the day as well. He's just been getting the Orleans Firebirds to ground out. We talk about how many double plays he's forced Orleans Firebirds guys to hit into, and 3 today, and then back-to-back ground outs with Riley and Newpar in the bottom of the 4th, and then to start out this inning as
the first pitch is hit high in the air towards shallow left field. Running over is the shortstop Graffinino, and he gets to it and he makes the play in foul ground. Or did he get? No, he dropped it, excuse me. Hard to see through the netting out there, and he must not have made the play. Tough from our vantage point, we can't see the left field corner, but it looked like Graffinino had it.
Yeah, that
but
one just,
he did not.
That one just squeaked out of his glove there. AJ Graffinino, as you could see the reaction from Mickey Gasper. That one almost out number 3 of this inning, but just couldn't quite grab his AJ Graffinino.
McNamara has gotten a lot of his outs on the ground. 9 out of 14 of his outs have been off of ground balls. So the pitch to Hotby misses up and away. The count is even now, 1 ball and 1 strike. Speaking of 1-1, it's even in this ball game, 1-1, and we're even in the series, 1-1 here in the bottom of the 5th. 1-1 pitch is hit hard on the ground to second. A 1-hopper to Nick Dunn. He fields and throws to first for the out, and that retires the side. 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 5th go the Orleans Firebirds. At the end of 5 innings of play, we are even at 1. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan. We welcome you back to Eldridge Park in Orleans. Well, Taylor Suggs' night on the mound has been completed. Kelly Nicholson has gone to a fresh arm, and it's an arm that the Whitecaps are very familiar with. It's Jake Wong, the righty out of Grand Canyon, made 4 appearances against Brewster in the regular season. A very oft-used pitcher for Kelly Nicholson in the regular season for the Firebirds. He made a grand total of 16 appearances, tied for second on the team. So far in the playoffs, he's made 2 appearances, 2 innings pitched. He's got a 4.50 ERA. Gasper will lead things off for Brewster. It's 2, 3, and 4 for the Whitecaps as we start the 6th inning. In a game that is knotted at 1 apiece. Gasper, the switch hitter, is hitting from the left side, and the first pitch blows by him. Swing and a miss on a fastball from Wong. So the count is 0-1 on Mickey Gasper, who reached on a fielder's choice his first time and then hit a single the opposite way in the 3rd inning. Pitch to Gasper. Another fastball. This one misses off the plate inside. So the count is 1-1 strike on the switch hitter out of Bryant. Costas and Bishop will follow Gasper in this frame. 1-1 pitch misses low. The count 2-1 now on Mickey Gasper. Jake Wong, just a guy who's been used typically for just an inning or 2 by Kelly Nicholson so far this year, but has been a very reliable arm out of the pen. 2.65 ERA in the regular season for Wong. Here's the 2-1 offering. It's in there for a called strike at the knees to make the count 2-2. Gasper shakes his head. Wasn't a huge fan of that call. Makes the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wong is ready, working quickly. Here comes the 2-2 offering. It's hit hard to left field. Moving back is the left fielder, and he's going to make the catch on the run. Did he hang on to the baseball? Yes, he did. What a play from Riley. A terrific catch from Riley out there in left field, going to the ground as he made that catch to rob Gasper of another opposite field hit, and that is out number 1 of the 6th. Terrific job out there in that left field corner from Riley heading down to the ground. This has been a good game defensively for both teams, I think, Maura. Here's the righty Marty Costas, and his first pitch he takes his swung and hit high in the air but foul over behind the plate. So the count is 0-1 on Marty Costas.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that statement. Defensively, both teams have turned 5 double plays and some great outfield catches too.
Pitch to Costas misses up high, so the count is 1-1 strike.
Yeah, as we just saw that one from Brandon Riley, we've seen one from Hunter Bishop over in center. And for a team like Brewster, that's big, who tends to have a lot of errors.
The 1-1 pitch is in there for a called strike at the knees, so it's 1-2 strikes. Now on Marty Costas, we are in the top of inning number 6. This game is tied at 1. Here's the pitch to the righty Costas. It's fouled away right side. Costas able to stay alive after fouling off that fastball. Jake Wong, as we've already seen in this appearance, is good at locating his heater, but needs his slider to be working to be really effective. Can get that to kind of drop off the table. 1-2 pitch. There's the slider. It misses low. And the count is 2-2. Costas taking that one in the dirt to even up the count with Hunter Bishop standing on deck for the Brewster Whitecaps. Costas in the middle of having a great postseason. Was so hot at the end of the regular season and has kept it going into the playoffs. Pitch to the righty. Foul back to the screen to make the count still 2-2. Seen a bunch of baseballs whiz over that press box today. Both of these teams are very good at extending at-bats. And it's no coincidence that they're got a lot of good hitters on these teams. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Fastball misses up high to make the count 3-2. Boy, you can really see the zip on that fastball that Wong has coming on in relief of Taylor Sugg, but has had a little bit of trouble locating it in this at-bat. Count is full on Costas. Here comes the 3-2 pitch. Fouled away right side. So another long at-bat here from a Brewster Whitecap. And in a game that's all hands on deck in terms of pitching, that's an important thing, as well as just trying to find the right pitch to go for against this deep pitching staff from Orleans. Here comes the 3-2 pitch, righty to righty. It's fouled away again. So it's still 3 balls and 2 strikes on Marty Costas as the Whitecaps try to break this 1-1 tie in the top of inning number 6. Costas' biggest hit of this postseason came in that Game 3 against YD. a game-tying home run off his bat. Here comes the pitch to the righty. Checks his swing, and it's called for strike 3 at the knees. Costas had taken 3 steps to first base. He had time to take 3 steps to first base before Will Bowers rung him up for strike 3. Costas with a wry smile and a little shake of his head as he walks back to the dugout, but seems undeterred. That is strike number 3 and out number 2 of the top of the 6th.
That was a tough call there for Marty Costas. That one appeared from our angle to be just a very close call in terms of where it was at the knees of Marty Costas, but that's only the 2nd strikeout for Brewster.
So here's Bishop, takes a strike to start his at-bat off, 0-1. You're right, it is only the 2nd K, and the first one came with Bishop at the plate, and it was another disputed call from Will Bowers, in Bishop's mind anyway. The 0-1 pitch misses low to make the count 1-1. Probably one of the more frustrating things about that, if you're Costas, is the fact that the call came late. It took him a little while to make that decision. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Checks his swing, and they're going to say it's a called strike no matter what. So the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes on Hunter Bishop. He probably went around on that regardless. So 1-2 on the ASU Sun Devil. Bishop has a ground ball to go with that strikeout we were talking about. So looking for his first hit of the game, 0 for 2. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Fastball misses way up high. Nice job by Salazar to reach up the glove and grab it. So evens the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes on Hunter Bishop. Jake Wong, very workmanlike on the mound, working here for the Firebirds here in the top of the 6th. Here comes the pitch. It's a ground ball softly toward the right side. Wong moved to his left and fielded himself. He underhands it over to the first baseman, Newbar, to retire of his side. So the Whitecaps go down 1-2-3 in the top of inning number 6. At the end of 5.5 innings of play, it's still 1-1 between Brewster and Orleans here in Game 3. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan. We're back at Eldridge Park, bottom 6, and Jimmy Herron gets hit on the foot on the first pitch from Connor McNamara. Herron had squared to bunt, and it looked like that just came down and hit him right on his toes, jumped up for a second, but is able to shake it off and head over to first base, where he is always a threat to run. We are in the bottom of the 6th inning, and the game is tied at 1 here in a series that is tied at 1. But aside in Game 3, so far this has lacked the offensive firepower that we saw yesterday. A very tensely played game, good pitching from both sides. Connor McNamara in his 6th inning of work for Brewster, though Will Tribuker is warming up in the pen right now for the Brewster Whitecaps. He had a terrific game in Game 2 against YD in a starting role there. The 2-hitter Ethan Paul takes his first pitch up high on an opening fastball from the righty out of Maris to the lefty Ethan Paul. So the count 1 ball and no strikes on the man from Vandy. Herron aboard first base, nobody out. Coming set is McNamara. And time is called in the box by Paul. Thought McNamara was taking a little bit too long after he came set. So he'll reset with the count 1 ball and no strikes. And McNamara will again come set, holding the glove at his belt buckle. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. It's hit high in the air but foul. Left side. Evens the count up, 1 ball and 1 strike. Paul nods to himself after fouling that pitch off, chomping on his chewing gum. Paul so far in this ball game has an infield single in the first inning and then hit a high pop fly that was gloved by the third baseman Datris inside the infield dirt. So he is 1 for 2 so far in this game 3. A gripping ball game so far here at Eldridge Park. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. It just misses, presumably outside to make the count 2-1. That was up toward the letters as well. So 2-1 the count on Ethan Paul, hitting from the left side. McNamara staring in, gets the sign from Mickey Gasper and will go over to first base, and diving back just in time is Jimmy Herron. That was pretty close. A nice move to first from McNamara. We haven't seen a ton of that from him tonight, but checking on Jimmy Herron and Infante, very good at applying the tag in those situations at first base. Very good at doing the little things well defensively at first base is Julian Infante. We've seen a lot of that from him this season. Been so valuable. 2-1 pitch is cut on a miss. Runner going for second. The throw down is in time. They got him. Mickey Gasper throws out Jimmy Herron at second base. A terrific play and a nice tag applied by the second baseman Nick Dunn. So Herron is erased on the base paths for out number 1.
Well, that's huge, right? We talk about Jimmy Herron all the time and how dangerous he is. He scored the one and only run for this Orleans team, so getting him off the base paths is so important. And it's really interesting how Mickey Gasper has kind of come alive in this playoffs. He has a lot of great plays from behind the plate.
So with the bases now empty, the pitch is fouled back off the bat of Ethan Paul to keep him alive in the at-bat. It has been terrific from Gasper, who's had to hold his own. He's a guy who's in his lineup for his bat. But you're right, more of that. It seems like with each passing game, he's been more and more comfortable and has made a couple of great throws back there. Pitch to Paul, misses low, which brings the count full on Ethan Paul. 3 balls and 2 strikes. We are in the bottom of the 6th inning of a 1-1 game here at a packed Eldridge Park in Orleans, Massachusetts for Game 3 of the Eastern Division Championship Series. The winner will play for a title. The pitch to Ethan Paul is hit high in the air towards shallow right field. Coming in is Chandler Taylor. Going out is Nick Dunn, and Nick Dunn will make the catch a few steps beyond the infield dirt for the second out of the top of the 6th inning. And now Decolati will dig in for the Orleans Firebirds. I'm sure Jamie Shevchik is happy with the way that McNamara is navigating this. It's a tough thing to ask to go up against the top of the Orleans Firebirds order for the 3rd time in a playoff game in your start. And so far he's been able to face the minimum 2 through these 2 outs, getting that caught stealing. Pitch to the righty, Decolati is fouled away behind the plate. So the count is 0-1 on Nico. So far for Decolati today, he is 0 for 1 with a double play ground ball and a walk. Has also allowed a run to come in. It was his ground ball double play that allowed that first run to score for Orleans. The pitch is a slow breaking ball that misses inside. So it's 1 ball and 1 strike now on Decolati. On that really slow bender there from McNamara. As Tribuker continues to warm in the Whitecaps pen. Looks pretty much ready to go. The pitch is fouled back to the screen behind home plate. Flanked off over by the backstop. So it's 1-2, and McNamara a strikeout away from getting through 6 innings of work, giving up just that one run on the double play. Has been helped out by his defense. That double play is one of 3 that the Whitecaps have turned in this game, but he's gotten a lot of balls on the ground, and he's been efficient. Pitch to Decolati is a breaking ball that misses inside. So Decolati will dig back in. And here comes the pitch from McNamara. Misses down and away to bring the count full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Now on Nico Decolati. McNamara trying to get the energy here to get 1 more K. Here comes the 3-2 pitch. Misses down and away for ball 4. Looked like Bowers took a long look at that behind the plate, but did not ring him up. So Decolati advances via his 2nd walk of the ball game. Interestingly enough, those are the 2 walks that McNamara has surrendered. They've both been to Decolati. And now Scott will dig in for the Firebirds, excuse me. The Whitecaps' opponent tonight, Orleans. Tied at 1, bottom of the 6th inning. This game is moving right along, despite the what's on the line. Usually these postseason games, right around here, 6th or 7th inning, when new pitchers start to get brought in, sometimes we'll slow down. The pitch to Steven Scott is lined right to the second baseman, Nick Dunn. He makes the catch to retire the side. Dunn was in the right place at the right time, and that finishes things in the the bottom of the 6th inning. A terrific 6 innings from Connor McNamara. Gets a pat on the backside from his catcher, Mickey Gasper, and a couple more high fives from Infante from Tony Losi as he enters the Whitecaps dugout. In the 6th inning for Orleans, no runs, no hits either. They do leave 1 runner on. And at the end of 6 innings of play, we are still even at 1. Jake Wong is back out for the Firebirds to pitch the 7th. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan.
Welcome back to Eldridge Park. Kyle Datras, Chandler Taylor, Darius Hill due up for the Brewster Whitecaps. We're in the top of the 7th inning. The score is 1-1, and Kyle Datras is up to bat, the man responsible for the lone Brewster run. He had a homer, a moonshot really in the 4th. As first pitch, a swing and a miss from Datras. Counts 0-1 on the UNC Tar Heel. Datras hit that long ball off of his Tar Heel teammate Taylor Sugg, who has since been replaced by Jake Wong on the mound for the Firebirds, who misses outside to Datras. Counts 1-1 on the third baseman today for the Whitecaps. Datras 1 for 2 in his first at bat. Hit a hard hit ball that Jax Groshans robbed of a base hit as Wong again misses, this time below the knees. Counts 2-1.
The line on Sugg, 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 run. It was earned on the Datras homer. He walked 1 and struck out 1.
Here comes the 2-1 from Wong. This one fouled off by Datras above the press box. Counts 2-2. And the big thing there from Sugg is walked 1. That's Brewster's game. They work walks, and that's how they've gotten back into games and had the season they've had. And that's big from Taylor Sugg. Wong staring in. Counts 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here comes the pitch. This one misses inside. Datras had to jump out of the way. That one almost clipped his fingers. So the count runs full to Kyle Datras. We talked about this before, but Datras having a great postseason. 6 RBIs with the home run as Datras fouls a pitch off right onto the hill or above the hill into the pavement. Count still full on Kyle Datras, who again is making Orleans pitching work. That's how the Whitecaps have been playing today as the payoff pitch misses upstairs, and that's a leadoff walk for Kyle Datras.
I know a home run is very impressive for Datras, but the leadoff walk maybe just as good in time, especially with guys like Taylor and Hill, 2 powerful hitters coming up for Brewster. This is a game that has been tense as you can imagine, and a little play like that, a walk, a stolen base, a decision in the field, could be what decides who goes on to the next round. I mean, this is that kind of game.
Chandler Taylor calls for time and then digs in for the Whitecaps. Taylor, the first pitch from Wong misses below the knees. Counts 1-0. Chandler Taylor, just combined his name, 0-2 on the day. 2 ground outs, both 4-3 ground outs. As the next pitch from Wong. Again, misses below the knees. Counts 2-0. Chandler Taylor had a home run yesterday, but really has struggled in the playoffs to get things going. We've seen a lot of strikeouts from Chandler Taylor, especially in the YD series. As the pitch from Wong paints the outside corner. Counts 2-1 on Chandler Taylor. Taylor over in right field today for the Whitecaps. Whitecaps defense has been doing amazing in this game. Again, it's 1-1 as the pitch from Wong just misses outside. Chandler Taylor taps his bat on the plate and gets ready for the pitch. From Wong, staring in, is the Grand Canyon product, and here comes the pitch. That one misses outside, and Chandler Taylor works a walk. Back-to-back walks for Brewster in the top of the 7th. Have runners on first and second, and now it's Darius Hill's turn.
And now Brewster seems to have found their identity here. I mean, how many rallies have we seen from the Brewster Whitecaps this season that have started off with a walk or 2 or 3 or 4? I mean, we've seen a lot of bases-loaded walks for Brewster that have come in for, not just tacking on runs in a blowout, but critical runs in a ball game. And so for Jamie Shevchik, I'm sure this puts a smile on his face to see his team getting bases on balls, because unlike a lot of the other teams on the Cape, that's kind of been Brewster's MO, clogging up the base paths full of guys that can get on via the walk, and then hopefully one of their power bats like Hill and Infante, who's on deck, can clear them out and get that clutch hit. That's the situation that the Whitecaps are in here.
There is an infield meeting going on right now for the Orleans Firebirds. Will Bowers, who's behind the plate, is going to break that up as we speak. That meeting is going to be broken up, and everyone's going to retreat back to their positions. But it's Darius Hill out to bat for the Whitecaps. And Hill, before these 2 back-to-back walks, was the only guy that has worked a walk in this game. So a dangerous guy here. Hill showed his plate discipline and has had a great playoff run, batting .300. There's a couple of Orleans pitchers warming up. It's Graham Stinson and Josh Hyatt just getting warm as Darius Hill bunts it on the third base line. Hill running to first and is out, but the runners move. A sacrifice bunt there from Darius Hill does its job. And now 2 runners in scoring position for the Brewster Whitecaps, and Julian Infante up to bat.
Well, I'm not the biggest proponent of the sacrifice bunt, but if you're gonna bunt, that's a situation where you would do it first and second and nobody out. And I'm sure Jamie Shevchik knows that he has a lot of faith in the next 2 guys up, Infante and Graffinino. Both of them have been clutch in the playoffs.
Infante digging in. Waiting on the first pitch from Wong. Infante has 2 fly balls today, as he'll hit another one that will tail foul on the right field side. Counts 0-1 on Infante, but Infante's first fly ball, so to speak, was really just a hard hit ball that was right to center and was a couple of feet from going out. Would have been a totally different game, but Heron was able to make the grab over in center. Has a swing and a miss from Infante on the next pitch from Wong. Moves the count to 0-2. Julian Infante behind in the count. There is 1 out. We're in the top of the 7th. 2 runners in scoring position for Brewster. Chandler Taylor at second, and Kyle Datris at third. Wong shakes off a couple of signs from Salazar behind the plate. Seems to settle in on 1, and here comes the pitch. Infante right back to the pitcher, and then caught in a rundown is Datris, who is out at home. He'll slide in, but called out as Wong caught Kyle Datris in a bit of a rundown, and Kyle Datris was just called out. That is going to be a play that is huge for the Brewster Whitecaps. Kyle Datris laid his body on the line, just caught with too much of a lead. Probably didn't expect that one to get hit back to Wong, and good play there from Jake Wong, and that just robs the go-ahead run for the Brewster Whitecaps. But Chandler Taylor is now at third for Brewster.
Yeah, and that's kind of a situation where, it's a It's a mistake from Datris on the base paths, and it's also a heads-up play from the pitcher Wong. It kind of meets in the middle, I think. Wong had a great job knowing the presence of mind to immediately wheel around, not just thinking about getting the runner at first, but saying, I think this guy might be going on contact at third base, and Datris didn't react in time. And also, Taylor was barreling in for third base as well, so there was kind of only one place to go for Datris, and it was very close at home plate.
So Julian Infante gets on the fielder's choice. A.J. Graffinino up to bat. As a first pitch from Wong misses upstairs, counts 1-0 on A.J. Graffinino. Graffinino, as we talked about, has come up in big spots for Brewster. The biggest one was in Game 3 against YD. Had the hit, a double, that brought home the run that made the score 8-7 in the top of the 10th. Brewster hung out for a win as a big swing and miss from A.J. Graffinino. Moves the count to 1-1. Graffinino does have a hit today. Found the gap between first and second on the right field side. That was in his last at-bat in the 5th. Do or die. The Whitecaps knocking on the door, but there is 2 outs. Nick Dunn is up in the on-deck circle, ready to go. Here comes the 2-2. This one hit to the shortstop, Hopi, who fields it, throws it over to first, and that one just in time. A.J. Graffinino almost ran that one down, but not quite in time, so Brewster leaves 2 runners stranded, including Chandler Taylor on third. The score is still 1-1 after 6.5 innings of play. This is getting interesting, folks. Do not go anywhere. Game 3, more Brewster Whitecaps baseball on the way on the Whitecaps Radio Network.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan.
We're back in Eldridge Park. It's Groshans, Riley, Newbar due up for the Orleans Firebirds. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. The score is knotted up at 1. This is about as interesting as it can get, folks. And Connor McNamara still on the mound. So Jamie Shevchik handing the 7th inning to McNamara, saying, go out there and show us what you got. McNamara so far has got some good stuff for Brewster. Only allowing 1 run. That came in the 1st inning as a breaking ball misses to Jax Groshans, just below the knees, counts 1-0.
And Tribuker is still out there warming, though he looks like he's pretty much ready.
Here comes the 1-0. This is hit to Kyle Datris at third. Datris taking his time. The throw over is in time, and that's going to be the first out.
And I think this decision by Jamie Shevchik, it kind of tells you a little bit about how Brewster doesn't really have the pitching depth that the Firebirds do. I mean, Kelly Nicholson had double-barreled action in the pen, including his closer during that last inning in case it went off the rail. But here, Jamie Shevchik kind of knows that, listen, if he can get an extra out, an extra couple of outs during this inning for the Whitecaps, it can be really valuable later on down the line.
First pitch to Brandon Riley is fouled off over Route 28 on the left field side. Counts 0-1 on Riley. Another UNC Tar Heel. One of 14 on the Cape this year. Just a couple of them left, though, as there's only 3 teams left. As the pitch from McNamara misses outside. Counts 1-1. We already know Bourne's in the championship, and this is the game that decides the east side of it. As the 1-1, breaking ball Called strike by Will Bowers on the outside corner. Counts 1-2. Now Brandon Riley. Riley was hit by a pitch by McNamara in the second. That one, a rough one, got him right in the rib cage. Has a 1-2. Just misses outside. And the count's 2-2 on Brandon Riley. And in Riley's last at bat in the fourth, grounded out in a 4-3 ground out as the 1-2 hit hard into right field. Moving is Chandler Taylor, gets under it, makes a grab. A good route there by Chandler Taylor. That one could have potentially dropped in as Chandler Taylor had to show his wheels out there in right field, but he got under it, and that's 2 outs.
Sure did have to show his wheels. That was a rocket off the bat of Riley, and a nice job by Taylor to suck that one up.
Now with nobody on, Lars Newbar is trying to get things going for the Firebirds. We haven't seen a lot of offense from either side. Again, the score is 1-1. In the bottom of the 7th, 2 outs. Here comes the pitch from McNamara, hit high into left field. This one looks like it will drop foul, and that one is out of play. That one hung up there for quite a while. Marty Costas was on the move, but that one just dropped out of his reach. So the count is a long 0-1 on Newbar. Newbar, another guy that's 0 for 2 on the day, and no surprise, he's grounded out twice, as that seems to be the game for Connor McNamara. Just has 1 strikeout. Breaking ball from McNamara, paints the outside corner. Counts 0-2 on Connor McNamara in his 7th inning on the mound for the Whitecaps. In his first start, he's now gone more innings as the 0-2 misses outside in this game than he has all season in a Brewster uniform. He was a late addition to this Brewster squad. Before this game had 5 1/3 inning pitch, and now he's gone 6 2/3. Looking for the complete 7 as he misses again outside. Counts 2-2 on Newbar. McNamara with the 2-2. This one hit high into center field. On the move is Hunter Bishop. Hunter Bishop gets under a sliding catch from Hunter Bishop. That one was close. Hunter Bishop was running back to the wall, turned around, slid, and caught it. But that will do it in the bottom of the 7th inning. A close call there for the Brewster Whitecaps, but they do not allow a run off of no hits. And this is, again, a very tight game, 1-1. We're moving into the top of the 8th inning. It's crunch time, folks. Do not go anywhere. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan.
The top of the order for the Brewster Whitecaps will get their 4th try at things as they're going to face a new pitcher for the Orleans Firebirds. It's their closer, Josh Hyatt, on the mound. We're expecting him to be asked to go the final 6 outs of this series as Hyatt has been the closer for the Orleans Firebirds. He has been used a lot in the playoffs. This is, in fact, his third appearance in 4 days. The Whitecaps already saw him, and that was in Game 1 here at Eldridge Park, where he closed out that 4-1 Orleans win. But he will face Nick Dunn, Mickey Gasper, and Marty Costas for the Orleans Firebirds, as Nick Dunn is headed out there as we speak to the batter's box. Dunn had a single in the first. Since then, hasn't had a hit. He did hit into a double play in the 5th. But these are the 3 guys that have been clutch for the Whitecaps all year, as the first pitch from Hyatt misses. Outside, counts 1-0 on Nick Dunn.
And I'm not sure if they're going to ask Hyatt to give 6 outs. I think it's the most likely scenario, but either way.
As the 1-0 finds the inside corner, counts 1-1.
But either way, I think this is a good decision because of all the things you're talking about. These are the 3 toughest hitters in Brewster's lineup, and you want to have your best arm out there to face them.
Here comes the 1-1. This one hit to the shortstop, Hopi, who backhands it. The throw to first is in time, as Nick Dunn goes out. A nice throw there from Hopi just in time. That beat out Nick Dunn, and that is going to be the first out of the top of the 8th inning.
A gorgeous play. Boy, this has been such a great day for defense. We've seen 5 double plays. We've seen the leaping play from Groshans, the sliding catch from Bishop in the previous frame, and then a terrific backhanded play from Hopi. This has been a beautifully played ball game here tonight.
We've only seen 3 strikeouts from either team, as Mickey Gasper takes the first pitch for a ball, counts 1-0. It's mostly been ground balls and just nice defensive plays for both teams. It's been back and forth defensively, showing off their chops, as a big swing and miss from Mickey Gasper for strike number 1, counts 1-1. And the score is 1-1. We're in the top of the 8th inning, 1 out. Brewster just trying to get some offense going. Their lone offensive score, as Hyatt misses down low, counts 2-1 on Gasper. Brewster's lone offensive score came from Kyle Datris, a homer in the 4th, and really have been silent since then. Here comes the pitch from Hyatt. That's a fastball that finds a strike zone. Counts 2-2 on Mickey Gasper. Gasper didn't quite like that call from Bowers behind the plate. The 2-2. This one hit a chopper to first. Newpark, will step on the bag and get out Mickey Gasper. That's 2 up, 2 down for Brewster.
Yeah, nice job with the flip over to Hyatt to finish things up there, and that was another well-done defensive play.
And yet another ground out for Brewster, as Marty Costas is up to bat with nobody on for Brewster again, top of the 8th inning, 2 outs. Costas does have a single in the first inning. Since then, again, been pretty quiet for Brewster, as the first pitch from Hyatt misses upstairs, counts 1-0. Costas does have a strikeout. He struck out looking on a bit of a controversial call from Will Bowers behind the plate, as Costas lines one to left field. Going back is Riley, and that one is out of here. Marty Costas with a home run that makes it 2-1. And when we talk about clutch players on the Whitecaps, Marty Costas has been the guy all year who has come up for Brewster in clutch situations, and they just took a 2-1 lead in Game 3 of the Eastern Division Championship Series.
And no doubter from Marty Costas. We saw it in YD. We saw it at Stony Brook Field against Harwich. We're seeing it here at Eldridge Park. This has been such a great season for the man from Maryland. What a home run, and what a time in the ball game to get it. Now the Whitecaps are 6 outs away.
It is silent in Eldridge Park. That is a fair statement. Besides the Brewster fans that are here, as Hyatt finds a strike zone against Hunter Bishop, counts 0-1. There is plenty of fans here at Eldridge Park, but most of which are Orleans fans, and that was a pretty quiet home run, as the 0-1 is hit by Bishop over to second base. Paul with the throw in time, and that will complete this top of the 8th inning, but Brewster takes the 2-1 lead off of a home run from Marty Costas. Brewster up a run again We're through 7.5 innings of play. Do not go anywhere. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps baseball on the Whitecaps radio network.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and more Meredith.
We're back in Eldridge Park, and there is a pitching change for the Brewster Whitecaps. It's Will Tribuker on the mound. For Brewster, he replaces Connor McNamara, who had a stellar start for the Whitecaps. Tribuker hasn't pitched against Orleans since July 20th, and he only went an inning and 2/3 in that 8-6 Brewster lost. Gave up 2 runs in that game, but coming in relief as the first pitch to Cesar Salazar is just barely fouled by Salazar. Just got a piece of that one, went into the netting behind him, and the count's 0-1. Tribuker, though, he did have a stellar game against YD. Started that game and Brewster came up with a 6-1 win. That was game 2 of the first round. It's game 3 right now as Tribuker misses a breaking ball that seems like him and Mickey Gasper are not on the same page, as that one went above Mickey Gasper's head with really no try there from Gasper to glove it at all. So that's a 1-1 count. Again, Eastern Division Championship Series, Game 3. The winner moves on. Slow breaking ball, swing and a miss there from Salazar.
That's that potent combination that really helped Tribuker in that Game 2 gem. Starting him off with the fastball and then fooling him with that slow breaking ball that makes the heater look even hotter.
Counts 1-2. Here comes the pitch from Tribuker. That one misses down and away. So the count's 2-2. Salazar 0 for 2 on the day. Did strike out. The only strikeout Connor McNamara managed to have. Salazar pops one high. Julian Infante moving into foul territory. Looks like he's going to call this one, and he gets under it, and that is going to be out number 1 of the bottom of the 8th inning.
Great job tracking that by Infante. It was a terrific start from McNamara. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. It was earned. He walked 2, struck out 1. Did hit a pair of batters as well with pitches, but a great start.
Brewster is up 2-1. Again, we're in the bottom of the 8th. There is 1 out. Brewster just took the lead off of a Marty Costas moonshot. Marty Costas coming up clutch once again for the Whitecaps, but still a lot of work to do as Jeff Hopi takes the first pitch from Tribuker for a strike. Counts 0-1 on Hopi. Hopi does have a single to his name today as the 0-1. A big swing and miss from Hopi. Count is 0-2. And Hopi's single, that came in on a check swing that Kyle Datras just wasn't able to get to in time. It was almost like a bunt the way it was just barely hit, but Hopi did get on, and that was in the 3rd. As a swing and a miss there on a breaking ball from Will Tribuker gets Jeff Hopi to chase at a low pitch, and Hopi goes down via the strikeout.
And that's a very important K, not just because it gives Tribuker confidence, not just because it gets him a second out, but now Jimmy Herron's coming up with 2 outs and the bases empty. That's very important when you consider that there is going to be a 9th inning after this, and Jimmy Herron's so tough to deal with.
And Jimmy Herron is the guy that scored the lone run for the Orleans Firebirds. That was way back in the 1st inning. As Tribuker misses down low, counts 1-0 on Jimmy Herron.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan.
Datris Taylor Hill due up for the Brewster Whitecaps. We're in the top of the 9th, and Brewster is just trying to extend on this slim lead they have. They're up 2-1 on the Orleans Firebirds. They want to extend on that because that is just not a comfortable lead going into the bottom of the 9th. And here comes the first pitch from Hyatt. That one a fastball that misses outside to Kyle Datris. Counts 1-0 on the UNC Tar Heel. Kyle Datris has 2 big plays today as he hits one to shortstop Hopi, who fields it, and the throw is high. But Newbar is able to grab that one for a ground out, a 6-3 ground out. And Kyle Datris goes down. That was a high throw from Hopi, but Newbar is 6'4", so he was able to just reach up and grab it. Some other first basemen may not have said the same, but one retired. Just 2 outs left for Brewster. Here comes the first pitch from Hyatt. This one hit high into center field by Chandler Taylor. Moving back is Herron. Herron gets under it, and that's 2 up, 2 down. Chandler Taylor is very upset with that. He thought that one could have gone out. It was just maybe a couple of feet, but that is a deep center field wall. We've talked about that before. And now it's up to Darius Hill if Brewster wants to extend on this lead. This is the guy that's got to get it started.
By my count, that's the 3rd fly ball that we've seen reach all the way out toward the wall out there in center field in this ball game tonight. A home run in a lot of other ballparks, especially where we were last few days in Red Wilson Field.
First pitch from Hyatt. Paints the inside corner, counts 0-1 on Darius Hill. Yeah, if we were in YD, we may have seen about 7 dingers in this game. However, we've seen 2, and that's the only way Brewster has scored today, as Hyatt misses outside. Counts 1-1 on Darius Hill. Hill worked a walk in the 2nd inning. Had a pop fly over to second base as Hyatt again misses outside. Counts 2-1. That was in the 5th inning, and then in the 7th, had a sacrifice bunt that moved the runners to 2nd and 3rd. Hyatt misses down and low, counts 3-1 on Darius Hill. Staring in is Hyde. Here comes the pitch. 3-1. That one misses outside, and Darius Hill, for the 2nd time today, works a walk. And Brewster has a base runner on with 2 outs and Julian Infante up to bat.
No hesitation to take off the gear there from Darius Hill. I know last time he drew the walk, he waited a little bit on Will Bowers. That time more confident in the call, but an insurance run is so important. As everybody who is tuning into our broadcast in Game 3 against YD knows, insurance runs in this spot are very, very important.
Here comes the pitch to Julian Infante, chopped to Hyatt. And Hyatt will just dump it over to the first baseman, Newbar, and that will do it for the Whitecaps. Julian Infante with a high chopper, or a low chopper, over to Hyatt. And that is going to leave Darius Hill stranded at first. So the Whitecaps do not score in the top of the 9th. That makes it 2-1 going into the bottom of the 9th. Not a comfortable lead, so this game is going to be interesting Do not go anywhere. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Will Tribuker is on the mound for what could be the final 3 outs of this game, and it is a tough matchup for Tribuker. Ethan Paul, Nico Decolati, Steven Scott. So 2, 3, 4 batters do it for Orleans. Basically, the guys you want if you're Orleans to come up in this tough situation. They're down 2-1. The Whitecaps are on top of Orleans. Remember, the winner of this game moves on to the championship series. This is about as interesting as it gets. Tribuker staring in. Here comes the first pitch. That one gets behind Mickey Gasper, and the count is 1-0.
That one just whizzed by Scott. He had to jump in lefty to lefty matchup, and that one was way off the inside corner, and Gasper will go out and have a chat with his Michigan pitcher.
Mickey Gasper didn't even get a piece of that one. It seemed like him and Tribuker were not on the same page. We've seen that happen twice today, although in both situations there was no runners on, so no damage done. But Gasper and Tribuker want to get on the same page now as Ethan Paul is up to bat. Paul in the first inning had a single. Since then has 2 pop fly, so he's 1 for 3 on the day. As the next pitch from Tribuker, right up the middle, counts 1-1. On Paul. You can feel the tension here at Eldridge Park. There's Chance going out for the Firebirds as a breaking ball misses upstairs. Seemed like that one Paul thought was coming up towards his face. He kind of moved it back. But that one dropped in, but not quite for a strike, so the count's 2-1. Here comes the 2-1. A big swing and miss from Ethan Paul, counts 2-2.
And it sure is tough after seeing 2 pitches come right towards you high and tight to try and go after something down and away like that. Just sort of waved at it.
Tribuker staring into Mickey Gasper. Counts 2-2. Here comes the pitch. And cut on and miss. That's a strikeout by Will Tribuker for the number 2 batter. And Will Tribuker gets Ethan Paul swinging, and Nico Decolati comes on with nobody on. 1 out. There's 2 outs to go for the Brewster Whitecaps, but again, 2 and 4 hitters due up for Orleans.
Will Tribuker is a man on a mission right now. 4 up, 4 down since he entered this ball game. He doesn't show really any emotion. All business on the mound. He is not being affected by the big stage. If he is, we can't see it.
Here comes the pitch from Tribuker. First pitch, a called strike on the outside corner, counts 0-1 on Nico Decolati. Decolati has worked 2 walks today, and that's how he's got on. He did hit into a double play, and that brought home Jimmy Herron. That was the only run scored for the Orleans Firebirds today as the next pitch misses below the knees from Tribuker. Count moves to 1-1. The score is 2-1. Just 2 outs left in the bottom of the 9th. We just saw the first one. Ethan Paul struck out. Brewster trying to hold on as Tribuker gets a swing and a miss there from Decolati. The count's now 1-2. Big spot here for Tribuker. A chance to play Bourne in the championship series on the line. A swing and a miss, and Will Tribuker gets back-to-back strikeouts to start the bottom of the 9th. A huge, huge moment as Decolati strolls back to the dugout, and Steven Scott takes a huge breath as he is walking into the batter's box. This could be the final out of this series, but this is Steven Scott, and he is known for going yard. He won the home run derby, so do not count this guy out. He knows his spot on the team, and he takes a deep breath once again It is Jack Scroshan's on deck if need be. He calls for time. And Bucher, here comes the first pitch. That one just misses below the knees, counts 1-0. The Brewster fans are starting to get really into it. Orleans fans are on the edge of their seat just praying for a big moment here from Steven Scott. Here comes the 1-0. Paints the outside corner, counts 1-1 on Steven Scott. Scott is 0 for 3 on the day, looking for his first hit. But those were all against Connor McNamara. This is the first time he's faced Will Bucher. This is a lefty-lefty matchup as Bucher paints the outside corner for strike number 2. And Brewster is 1 strike away from a championship series. The count is 1-2. Whitecaps fans on their feet as Scott calls for time. Bucher with the 1-2. This one low in the dirt. Scott almost went around on that check, just brought himself back, was able to check his swing back enough. And the count is 2-2. That one was in the dirt, a very similar pitch to what Bucher has been getting guys to wave at. And here comes the 2-2. A swing and a miss, and the Brewster Whitecaps are in the championship series. Bourne, Brewster, mark your calendars. It starts tomorrow. The Brewster Whitecaps are going to the championship for the first time in 17 years. Brewster knocks off the #1 seed Orleans Firebirds at their home field in Eldridge Park. The first win Brewster has gotten here since June 14th. It is silent here at Eldridge Park.
The slipper still fits for the Brewster Whitecaps. Will Bucher, the hero that nobody saw coming for this postseason for the Brewster Whitecaps, had a terrific start in Game 2 against YD and strikes out the side here in the 9th. What a series and what a ball game here tonight. I mean, this was totally different from the Game 3 that we saw between Brewster and YD in terms of the style, in terms of a number of runs that were scored and the way the game was played out. But they were both exceptional games of baseball. And for Brewster to come out the winners in both of these games, it says a lot about the way this team can fight. It says a lot about their heart and their grit. And that's the makings of a Cinderella team. And now, all of a sudden, they're going into a championship series against the Bourne Braves, where if they're not the favorites, it's a 50-50 looking matchup. They are not going to be the underdogs in that series. So for Brewster, this is just a monumental victory for the franchise as a whole.
Connor McNamara worked just 1 strikeout. This game saw a lot of ground balls. And then how does Will Bucher end it? With 3 strikeouts in a row. Ends this series with Orleans. Once again, Brewster upsets the #1 seeded Orleans Firebirds. This is a huge win. They're moving on to the championship. They'll start what could be a 3-game series with Bourne tomorrow. Obviously, we'll have coverage of that. But do not go anywhere. You're going to want to hear from the players, I assume there's many, of the game. Hear from Aiden Doyle on the sidelines. We'll also hear from Jamie Shevchik, as always, who is moving on to his first championship as head coach of the Brewster Whitecaps. So do not go anywhere. We have a lot more content on the way. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network.
Don't go anywhere. The Whitecaps postgame show is coming up right after this.
That was huge for us. It's huge for the momentum going into tomorrow.
Only on the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network.
Welcome back to Eldridge Park. Kind of coming back down to earth here in Orleans, Mass. This was just one of the most tense games we've been a part of. We've been lucky enough to be a part of 2 really intense game 3s, but as you talked about, Carter, totally different games. This one, Brewster edges out Orleans just barely. They beat the home team 2-1 at their home park, and this was just a crazy game for Brewster. Fantastic pitching, and Connor McNamara, he is one of the great stories of this game. Hadn't started a game all year, a very new addition to this Whitecap squad. Hadn't started a game all year for Brewster, comes in, gets his first start, pitches 7 innings, only allows 1 run. That was in the very first inning. After that, he did a great job, just got a lot of ground balls, had 3 double plays. He got Orleans Firebirds to hit into, and he's the youngest guy on this team and came out and acted twice his age out there with the composure he had, and a huge part of Brewster moving on to the championship series.
Yeah, it reminds me of way back at the beginning of the season when Jamie Shevchik was talking about how he was going to build his pitching staff, and he said that he was going to try and find hidden gems. He was going to try and find diamonds in the rough, and Brewster's pitching struggled early on in the season, and then toward the end of the season after the All-Star game, they had the turnover. They lost Robert Broom. They lost Davis Daniel. They lost a lot of other folks that were really a big part of a team. I mean, they lost Zach Lingenfelter. I mean, just a huge amount of guys. I mean, Chris Mockemer from Kentucky also left the team. And so it kind of was looking like Jamie Shevchik's plan to find those hidden gems had kind of fallen through, through no fault of his own, but just through circumstance. And now all of a sudden, Connor McNamara, Ryan Sear, Will Tribuker, and Schneider as well from a couple of days ago. All these guys that have been picked up very recently from Jamie Shevchik, they are the ones that are getting the biggest outs in the postseason, and it's such a great story for this club.
And it looks like our own Aiden Doyle has Connor McNamara with him right now on the sidelines. Take it away, Aiden.
Thank you, Maura. Here with today's starter, Connor McNamara. Connor, you joined this team with just about a week left in the season. You only made 3 regular season appearances, and you got the ball in Game 3 of the Eastern Division Championship Series. When you came from the Hamptons League, did you think something like this was possible?
Nah, I never imagined I was going to be out in the Cape, It's just a great experience, just take it and run with it,
What do you think it has to say? Like, how much confidence does it give you that Coach Shevchik, that in this do-or-die game, gave the ball to you?
It's just, after that, I know I belong here, so it was, just that. Yeah, I belong here.
7 innings, 1-run ball against the best team in the league. What was working for you out there on the mound?
I was hitting spots. The changeup was working. Just staying out of the middle of the plate, and you'll be fine.
And I know you haven't been with this team long, but this is the 2nd consecutive series in which you've overcome a 1-0 deficit, won back-to-back games, and including twice a Game 3 on the road in a do-or-die game. What does it say about this team that they're so able to overcome adversity?
They just have a lot of fight, a lot of heart. They could come back from anything. I haven't been here too long, but from what I've seen, they just have a lot of fight and heart.
All right, thank you, and congrats on the win, Connor.
Well, I think it's safe to say that he does belong here. He's proved it against the best team, arguably, throughout the entire regular season in the Orleans Firebirds, and they were definitely the favorite, I would say, to win the championship, and Connor McNamara comes out and completely stifles them. He was new to this team, as Aiden mentioned, out of the Hamptons League and joined super late. And I think it's important to remember that the first time we saw Connor McNamara was in another clutch situation. Jamie Shevchik asked him to close out a game against Wareham where Brewster had the chance to clinch the playoffs. And he went out there and gave up 2 runs, and it was a bit of a tough outing for Connor McNamara, and they did end up clinching the playoffs. But then, it was a tough situation for him in a big spot. And how does he respond with coming out in a bigger spot and having an even bigger game for Brewster?
Yeah, and well-deserved the winning pitcher of this ball game as well, and that's a terrific performance for him and for the entire team. The resilience and the heart and the clutch timely hitting as well playing a huge role for the Brewster Whitecaps with the 2 home runs that we saw from Datris and Costas. All the parallels to the Game 3 and YD continue. Those are the 2 guys who had the huge home runs earlier, especially the one from Costas to break the tie.
And our own Aiden Doyle has Marty Costas right now with him. Aiden, take it away.
Thank you, Maura. Here with Marty Costas. Marty, 8th inning, going into the 8th inning, tied at 1. Josh Hyatt, all-star closer from the Orleans Firebirds, takes over on the mound. What was your mentality going into the at-bat?
Man, I was just trying to get on base. Like, I knew he was a good pitcher. I've always seen how he just, mows guys up and down. I still kept my confidence, though. I felt like I was on the ball last at bat. I think that, like, at that point in the game, I just needed to take a deep breath. It was just enjoying the atmosphere. So, I just got lucky at that point. So it feels good. It feels good.
You keep saying you get lucky, but I feel like Lucky the Leprechaun doesn't get this lucky. Are you finally going to admit you're a clutch player?
We've been at this all year. I guess, it happens that way. I feel like I am now.
Well, we're at this all year because you always seem to deliver in the big spot. It's not like I'm coming up with these things.
Yeah, man. Hey, but look, it wouldn't happen without all the guys on the team playing so hard. I think like, Kyle Datchers with his home run was very, like, clutch. And Will coming in that situation, I was just like, it was so dramatic out there. Each pitch, I was holding my breath. So, this is as good as it gets right now.
You've been with this team the entire season through the ups and downs, low points, high points. At any point, did you think, something like this was possible going to the Cape League Championship?
No, I didn't, man. Like, it's one of those things that just happens on its own. I know. I think it's, I think that it's meant to be this way for us. Our guys been playing hard, so we deserve it.
This is the second time you've won back-to-back games facing elimination against the top 2 seeds in the Eastern Division, teams that you struggled against in the regular season. What is it about this team that they're always able to come back from a deficit?
Resilient bunch, We're coached by a resilient coach, and Chev, He has, like, that attitude where we're looking to win every game. He said it after we lost the first one. All we have to do is win 2. So I believe in it.
Are you guys nice?
Oh, yes. Yes, we prove it.
Thank you, Marty, and congrats on the win.
Well, that was just a great interview with Marty Costas, always full of life, and he finally admitted to what we've been trying to get him to say all year, that he is indeed a clutch player. I mean, one of the greatest home runs that we've seen all year from Marty Costas, if not the greatest, as it came up in the biggest spot for the Whitecaps of the season. And Jamie Shevchik, a lot of praise there from Marty Costas on what Jamie Shevchik has done for this team, and he's on his way right now to talk with us and Aiden Doyle. And he has a big smile on his face, so we see happy Chev yet again. Aiden, take it away.
I think this might be the happiest of Chevs we've seen to this point this season. Coach, a lot of people coming into this game with Connor McNamara on the mound, who had made just 3 appearances, and Taylor Sugg, who you guys had hit hard in the regular season, thought this was going to be a high-scoring game. I think even in the dugout there was a sense that we might have to you guys might have to outscore them. How did you manage to win this close game?
Well, we outscored them, but it was 2-1 and not 11-10. But I give credit to our pitching staff and obviously timely hitting. We scored 2 runs on 2 home runs today. But I mean, credit to McNamara, who was pitching in the Hamptons League 2 weeks ago, to come out here and give us 7 innings was unbelievable. And then Tribuker bouncing back. We were debating on whether we wanted to put him in the game at all. So for him to come in and shut the door with 2 innings, I mean, you see the crowd out here; it's absolutely amazing.
Marty Costas always seems to deliver in these big situations. What is it about Marty that makes him so cool under pressure?
He's got his own hashtag. Anybody who's got their own hashtag Marty Party, I mean, I don't know if it's a surprise anymore, but the kid's a player. And I think all of our guys are just so loose and so laid back. You win, you move on. If you lose, the other team was supposed to win, and that was the mentality. So now going into tomorrow, I think that flip-flops a little bit. Now I think we've got the upper hand, so we've got to still keep the momentum going a little bit and have the same mindset as that we're never out of a baseball game.
This is the first time the Brewster Whitecaps have advanced to the championship series since 2000, the turn of the millennium. What's going through your mind right now? What are the emotions that not only you, but you think this entire team, organization, and community are feeling right now?
In the beginning of the year, half these guys had no idea what the Brewster Whitecaps were about. To them, it was just another team in the Cape League. As the postseason has gone on, these guys have realized that it's a lot more important than just playing summer baseball on the Cape. You can look at the crowd out here. There's a lot of people out here that are supporting this team, and our guys are feeding off that. So, I remember a long time ago when we said play for something other than yourselves, and I think they're doing that right now.
Thank you, Coach, and congrats on the win.
As Jamie Shevchik said, it's been 17 years since the Whitecaps have been in the championship, and they're going to face a Bourne Braves team that they edged out this year in terms of series. They played them 4 times, 3-1. Whitecaps beat them 3 times, and Bourne beat the Whitecaps one time. And this was, as Jamie Shevchuk said, they were always the underdogs in the series, and now they're going, not necessarily being the favorites, but as you said, 50-50, maybe 60-40 in Whitecaps' favor. So this is a totally different position for Brewster. What do they need to do now to turn around and beat a Bourne team that has been just as hot as them?
Well, they've got to protect their home field. That's what they've done during this postseason. And I tell you what, it's a heavy dose of cinematic irony that the reason why Brewster is going to be protecting home field is because the East Division won the All-Star game when Josh Hyatt of the Orleans Firebirds slammed the door on the West in the 9th inning. A real ironic twist that's what gives Brewster, the team that beat Hyatt tonight, home field advantage in the series starting tomorrow. But if they are able to protect their house, get their wins at home, they'll walk away champions of the Cape Cod League. And against a team in Bourne, like you said, more of it, they were able to handle in the regular season a ballpark in Doran Park that doesn't have the distinctive fences that we've seen from Red Wilson Field and here at Eldridge Park. I think for Brewster, they really have to like the situation they're in heading into this series starting tomorrow.
So once again, Brewster edges out the Orleans Firebirds 2-1 in Game 3 of the Eastern Division Championship Series. They move on to the championship against Bourne. We have coverage of that starting at 3:45. The game is at 4 at Stony Brook Field. Remember, home field advantage for the Brewster Whitecaps. That is a huge game. Make sure you tune in to that one right here on the Whitecaps Radio Network. For now, from Eldridge Park for the last time this year, we'll say goodbye. It has been so fun to come out here to Eldridge Park. Truly, just a congrats to Orleans Firebirds on a great season for them. But once again, from Morris Sheridan, from Carter Wadil, from Aiden Doyle on the sidelines, Brewster takes the 2-1 Game 3. They're going to the championship. That is tomorrow. Please tune into that game. It is going to be very exciting. From Eldridge Park, we'll say goodnight.